Hey everyone, my name's Sarah. This is going to be a video of my Gamecube collection. I'm mostly doing this video as a record for myself, so I can see that in November 2022 what my collection was like. I'm also going to talk about some things about where I got these games or how I got them, and my goals for the collection going forward, because Gamecube is one of my smaller collections, partly because the Gamecube market is really hot right now. Everybody wants it, everybody's sort of obsessed with it, and I think as time goes on that will change. You know, it was N64 before this, etc. So I think slowly we'll move on to the next era, but that's okay. I think the Gamecube's a really cool console. I didn't have one growing up, unfortunately. They were out when I was a kid, but we didn't really have games consoles in my house. So yeah, I'm just going to show my collection, and including all my accessories that I have. Yeah, so let's get into it. So first, I thought I'd show the console. So I have a silver console, just loose, unfortunately. It's in pretty nice condition. I bought it off eBay back in 2017, and it only came with a power cord and no memory cards or anything like that. So, but it's been faithful. It's in reasonably good condition. There is some scratches on the top, around the edges and stuff. Like it's been loved by someone once upon a time. So, the other thing, as you'll see on the bottom here, I have a Gamecube player. A Game Boy player, which I'm lucky enough to have complete in box. So this is it here. It's in a protector, so apologies for the glare. But this is in pretty good condition. There is a rip right in this area, which the rip did cover into the black, but I coloured in the black, the rip a little bit, so it sort of goes in line. A lot of people wouldn't like that, but to me, I don't plan on selling my collection. It's for my own enjoyment. So yeah, it's complete in box. It's got all the baggies and everything, which is pretty cool. So yeah, for memory cards, I have this guy here, which is a 1019 block memory card. It is, I believe, I could be wrong here, I believe it's the highest capacity that you can get, and so because my console didn't come with one, I just thought that I'd buy one and I'd sort of be one and done. So yeah, I can't remember what I paid for it. I got it really early on, but I did manage to snag this cool guy, which is sealed. This is a sealed 251 block memory card. Believe it or not, I got this on Facebook Marketplace locally, which is really like not a common thing around here. We don't tend to have a lot of retro. We have a couple of pawn shops, and that tends to be where people will take their things. And there's not a lot of retro around, and the competition is really high. But yeah, this one was only $10 and it sat on there for a while, and I just picked it up. I'm pretty happy with it. I don't plan on opening it because I think, you know, the fact that it's sealed is pretty cool, but it has the labels and everything in there, obviously. So yes, moving on to controllers. So this controller, this purple or indigo controller, is the one that I got with the console. Works perfectly fine. The stick probably needs replacing. It's pretty yellow, but it works just fine. And yeah, that's the console was this, the console and the power cord. So yeah, I sort of had to build up everything else from there. I also went on to purchase a silver controller because I just wanted one to match, in case I ever find a box for my Gamecube or decide to sell it. I think it'll be better if I have a matching controller. So yeah, again, pretty good condition. It's got some wear here, but that's normal from when people sit it on surfaces and things. And the stick's not too greasy or yuck or anything. And then I also have a Spice Orange controller. Why did I buy this? I don't know. Probably because I just wanted it, as is the case with pretty much everything in my collection. I also have a Spice Orange Game Boy Advance just back there. And I kind of just wanted the set. It's Japanese exclusive, this colour. You couldn't get it here in Australia at retail release, I believe. Then before I bought the silver or the orange controllers, I actually decided to get a Wavebird because I didn't want to be tied down by a cord, and I live in a rental and I've lived in a few places now, so I didn't want to be bothered by that sort of stuff. So I got a Wavebird, and this was back when they were about, I think I paid about $100. I don't know what they go for now. But yeah, it works fine. There's no problems with it. I don't play my Gamecube a ton because I have modern consoles as well. I've got a PS5 and my partner has a Series X. So I would like to play this a little bit more, but most of the time it just remains off with the batteries taken out of it so it doesn't get corroded. So then moving on to games. Because of the way I have it stacked, I'm going to go Z to A instead of A to Z. But first is Wario World. So this game I searched for a really long time because with my Gamecube collection I'm trying to go for only Australian PAL releases, which are more expensive and harder to find because obviously they were specific to Australia. We can play any PAL region games on our Gamecubes, and they can be from France or Germany, etc., but they might be in other languages, or they'll often have English but maybe the manual's got 2 languages, so it's just what I prefer to have. I just prefer to have what it would have been like when it came out. So yeah, Wario World's pretty cool. I quite like Wario as a character. I think he's just kind of slapstick and a bit stupid, but that's what's so good about him. And this copy's complete. Again, I'm trying to go for complete. But Gamecube is pretty expensive, so that's not always the easiest thing to do. So yeah. Moving on to the next one, WarioWare Inc. So again, I really like Wario, but WarioWare specifically, I really like, again, the slapstick sort of stupid humour. It tends to be, yeah, what I really like. This game's really fun. If you've never played WarioWare, basically it's all party games, and they're really quick, short and sharp, so you have to figure out what it is that you're trying to do in the minigame as quick as possible. It has a countdown, and then every time you lose you have up to, it depends what game you're playing, but sometimes you'll have 3 tries to get it wrong, 4 tries, etc. So this game I also have on Game Boy Advance, which it was called, there was a couple on Game Boy Advance. I think there was WarioWare Twisted, which is really fun, and then I've also got WarioWare Smooth Moves on the Wii, and there's WarioWare Gold on the 3DS, and there was just WarioWare Get It Together for the Switch, which is the newest one. Next we have Wave Race Blue Storm. I grew up playing this even though I didn't have a Gamecube. Friends had it. Everybody knows this game. It's one of those just really fun games. I mean, it's what do you call it? Jet skiing. So I think it's really good fun. Complete copy as well, in pretty decent condition. Most of the games these days, just given their age, the cover gets a bit sort of scratched up, which, you know, does and doesn't matter to me. It depends on how bad it is. I don't tend to mind a bit of scratching, but sometimes if they get pulled, I don't really like that. It has a little bit of edge wear on the bottom, but that's okay. It just sort of shows its age, but I don't know whether you can see very well there, but it was a really fun game. The next one I have is the only player's choice variant in my collection, and I bought this off a guy called Heath, I'm pretty sure. He kind of single-handedly he was selling off most of his collection, and he sold me a lot of games at pretty decent prices. And I bought a lot off him. He was a really, really nice guy. But I'm pretty sure he's out of collecting now. I haven't seen him post on any of the game groups or anything recently. But it is Wind Waker, Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. So what was important to me, even though it's player's choice, it is the Australian variant. And it is another thing I'm sort of going for, you might have noticed, is the only 4 games, so the exclusive games. Purely because you can have the same game released on PS2 and Gamecube, but 9 times out of 10 the Gamecube version will be more expensive and won't necessarily run any better or anything, so I try to stick to exclusives and things like that for the Gamecube. So you'll see that most of my games are first party, purely just for that reason. Anywho, Wind Waker, don't remember what I paid for it, but it is a complete version. Another thing to note is that the manuals are also Australian coded, and the discs are not. So the code here is an EUR code, but it is still PAL. It still says very clearly there. Next up, I also believe I got off Heath, and that is Zelda Four Swords Adventures. I haven't actually played this one, but I know you can hook up for Game Boy Advance systems, and then I believe you can play, like, each person's got a GBA, and they play a character. So it's all about co-op. So yeah, you also will need the link cable for that, which I do have. I just couldn't find it for this video. And I also have, to go with the Game Boy player, I have the linking cord from the back of the Game Boy into the Gamecube, which is pretty cool. This guy here is complete. Pretty nice condition overall. It's got a bit of sticker residue I need to clean up there, and a couple of pulls. That's what I mean by pulls. That I don't love, but it's okay. Overall, it's got the poster and the health and safety precautions booklets as well. So it's one of the pieces I really like. Next up, we have Tales of Symphonia. I paid a pretty penny for this one. I think nearly $200 roughly. Bought it off a guy in Tasmania with a couple of other games. I paid top dollar for them at the time. I'm pretty sure a lot of them have gone up. But they are in nice condition, so I was happy to pay top dollar, and he did negotiate a little bit with me. But again, Australian PAL coded, so this one's actually M, which a lot of Gamecube games didn't get that high of a rating. And then it's only 4. It does need a bit of a clean up for some sticker residue, but it does have both discs in there, nice and complete. I haven't gotten around to playing this, but I bought it because I really want to play it. I just have so many games in the backlog to play at the moment. So yeah, it's kind of just a case of whatever takes me fancy, and I tend to gravitate towards the newer consoles at the moment, because when I'm at work or when I'm talking with friends, there's more relevance about what I can actually talk to them about, because they may have played those games. Next up, Super Mario Sunshine. So this was one of the first games I got for my collection. And everybody's heard of Super Mario Sunshine. It was remade just recently for the Switch in the 3D All-Stars collection, which is no longer sold. I think they made it over a 8 to 12 month period and then said, we're not making any more. I've played both on the Switch and on the Gamecube. Controller wise, I think it's pretty similar. I don't really have a preference. So yeah, pretty much everybody knows about the existence of this game that's played Gamecube or has a Wii or etc. Fantastic game. It's not my favourite in the Super Mario series. My favourite is actually Galaxy, but that is sort of... The Wii is the first console I had at home that was actually mine and not, I wasn't at a friend's house playing it. So yes, Galaxy is my favourite, but Sunshine is pretty damn close behind. So yeah, really good fun. Nice complete copy. Next up, this one isn't an only four game. It's not an exclusive, but I wanted to purchase it on the Gamecube because it was actually relatively cheap. And I thought it would be a nice way to expand my collection on the Gamecube a little bit without breaking the bank. So, and this is Star Wars Rogue Squadron 3. I believe it actually goes, yeah, Rogue Squadron 3 Rebel Strike. I'm not 100% sure. Based off the movies, of course. And this is when they're on the planet Hoth. And they're defending themselves. Poster and the health and safety precautions booklets as well. So it's one of the pieces I really like. Next up, we have Tales of Symphonia. I paid a pretty penny for this one. I think nearly $200 roughly. Bought it off a guy in Tasmania with a couple of other games. I paid top dollar for them at the time. I'm pretty sure a lot of them have gone up. But they are in nice condition, so I was happy to pay top dollar, and he did negotiate a little bit with me. But again, Australian PAL coded, so this one's actually M, which a lot of Gamecube games didn't get that high of a rating. And then it's only 4. It does need a bit of a clean up for some sticker residue, but it does have both discs in there, nice and complete. I haven't gotten around to playing this, but I bought it because I really want to play it. I just have so many games in the backlog to play at the moment. So yeah, it's kind of just a case of whatever takes me fancy, and I tend to gravitate towards the newer consoles at the moment. Because when I'm at work or when I'm talking with friends, there's more relevance about what I can actually talk to them about, because they may have played those games. Next up, Super Mario Sunshine. So this was one of the first games I got for my collection. And everybody's heard of Super Mario Sunshine. It was remade just recently for the Switch in the 3D All-Stars collection, which is no longer sold. I think they made it over a 8 to 12 month period and then said we're not making anymore. I've played both on the Switch and on the Gamecube. Controller wise, I think it's pretty similar. I don't really have a preference. So yeah, pretty much everybody knows about the existence of this game that's played Gamecube or has a Wii or etc. Fantastic game. It's not my favourite in the Super Mario series. My favourite is actually Galaxy, but that is sort of, the Wii is the first console I had at home that was actually mine and not, you know, I wasn't at a friend's house playing it. So yes, Galaxy is my favourite, but Sunshine is pretty damn close behind. So yeah, really good fun. Nice complete copy. Next up, this one isn't an only four game. It's not an exclusive, but I wanted to purchase it on the Gamecube because it was actually relatively cheap. And I thought it would be a nice way to expand my collection on the Gamecube a little bit without breaking the bank. So, and this is Star Wars Rogue Squadron 3. I believe it actually goes, yeah, Rogue Squadron 3 Rebel Strike. I'm not 100% sure. Based off the movies, of course. And this is when they're on the planet Hoth, and they're defending themselves. And I think it also goes into when they're on, I can't remember the planet, where the little fluffy guys are, where the Ewoks are. Anywho, yes, so, complete copy again. It is Australian coded, which is, as you can see by now, is important to me. This copy here does not have a health and safety precautions booklet, which does matter to me, but not a huge amount given that this is not an exclusive and I could get it on another console easily enough. Following that one, remember because we're going Z to A, we've got Rogue Squadron 2. and this follows, I think this is also on Hoth as well, so this is the first, must be, I think these two cross over, this is 2 and this is 3, so this sort of leads into this one. But this is where you, spoiler alerts, destroy the Death Star. So yeah, you've got, that must be what I'm playing at the moment in my GameCube. I tend to play my Game Boy Player a lot, so the disc for this is in the GameCube because this is currently what I'm playing. But yeah, it's a nice complete copy. Really good fun, actually. I'm really enjoying playing through the Star Wars games. I haven't seen all of the movies. I've seen episodes 4, 5, 6, and 1 in that order. I'm watching them in the order that they released. And I've seen a couple of the other movies, like Rogue One, etc. So, next up, again, one of the first games in my collection, Star Fox Adventures. This is one of the cheaper exclusives, and that was kind of how my collection started. It was just started with the cheaper ones and then worked up to the more expensive ones. Nice complete copy on this one. I love the disc artwork. Orange is my favourite colour. So yeah, it's a pretty fun game. I've played 10 minutes of it just to make sure that the disc was working. But what I did play of it was good fun. I really like Fox. I have his amiibo as well. So next was the very first game I bought for my collection. But this is a slightly different copy. It's Smash Bros. Melee. So I bought a copy of this as the first game, but I bought a Player's Choice copy with no manual. I've recently upgraded it to a complete non-Player's Choice copy. And this is again Oz PAL complete. Unfortunately, the manual does have a bit of wear. You might be able to see there. But it's complete. I might update that if I can find one at a reasonable price. But everybody knows about Smash Melee. Really good fun. I grew up playing Brawl, so I like Brawl a lot, but it's probably my second favourite. So this guy's really, really fun. It's the second game in the franchise. There was Super Smash Bros. On the N64. Next one I looked for a long time, and this was part of the games that I got off a guy down in Tasmania. Again, I paid, I think, probably $220 for this. I believe it's gone right up in price again, but I really wanted it, and that is Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. So one of my big first collecting goals, aside from just collecting things I wanted, was to get every Pokemon game that was ever made in the mainline franchise. So that included all the, red, yellow, blue, all the way through to currently we've just had Scarlet and Violet released just a week ago, roughly. But I also wanted to do the spin-offs. So XD Gale of Darkness, really, really nice copy. This one here, again, why I was happy to pay top dollar. You might have noticed this was released in 2005, which was right towards the end of the GameCube's lifespan, but Australia changed their ratings a little bit. So we went from having this rating here, which says it's still a G rating, 8+, and it has our coat of arms on there. We went to this symbol here, which is still the current rating we use today in 2022. So you've got G, which is green, PG, which is yellow, M, which is blue, you've got MA 15+, which is red, and then you've got R, which is 18, and then you've got X, which is basically just X-rated. I don't know whether, I assume that's 18+. But yeah, really nice, complete copy. The manual, there's posters in there, the health and safety's in there, the manual's in pretty nice condition. So is the disc. So again, while I paid top dollar at the time, I was happy to, and now I'm glad because I think I saw a copy of this going for like $400 a couple of weeks ago. Don't know whether it ever sold, but I mean, it's Pokemon. It kind of always goes up. So there's a cute, derpy looking Eevee on the back, which is nice. Next up, you've got Pokemon Colosseum, which I got really lucky with this copy. So a lady that lives about half an hour away from me listed the case and manual. She had, I think, for $20, and I on Facebook Marketplace, and I went and purchased it, and which was cool. And I thought, oh, I'll just pick up the disc for $50 or $60, which I think is what the disc was going for at the time. This was a couple of years ago, and now I think it's a lot more expensive. And I posted on a couple of Facebook groups looking just for a disc-only copy. I said, I have the case. And I had a gentleman that sent it to me for free. Like, it was the nicest thing I have ever... Like, I haven't had anything ever that nice happen to me before. He didn't even charge me postage. He sent it in a... I think he even sent it in a box, so he would have had to pay for tracking to do that, because Australia Post. But yeah, so I put this copy together for $20, which was 3 years ago, so 2019, before the pandemic started here. That was unheard of for a game like this. I think it was probably going for roughly $100 at the time. But yeah, so that was one of the small wins in my GameCube collection, and small wins like this are part of the reason why I was willing to pay up for these guys here. So unfortunately, no memory card with that guy. I don't know whether this one came with a memory card with a special sticker, but I do know it was a 59 block, as it says on the top there. So one day I might complete that, but it's kind of, at what point do you stop trying to get all the little bits and pieces? Next up, we've got Pokemon Channel. This here is a really nice copy, one of the nicest copies I have in my whole collection. From memory, I think I paid $60 for this a couple of years ago. Really, really nice. There's just a tiny bit of sticker residue, but it even shines nice, like it's not warped or anything. It is complete, but I don't know that I get the Jirachi anymore, but it does have the sticker still. So, but it is in a really nice condition. I love the colour of the disc as well, the sort of the yellowy orange and the blue. Hey guys, you may notice that the weather's a little bit different now. When I went to export this video, I noticed that the audio had gotten a couple seconds behind the video, so I decided to refilm that bit, because I know if I notice it and I think it's annoying, anybody else will. So I believe the last game I showed was Pokemon Channel, but next we have Pokemon Box, Ruby and Sapphire. So anybody, if you don't own a GameCube, you might not know, but this actually isn't a game. It's actually just a Pokemon storage and organizer for mainly for Ruby and Sapphire, but I do believe it can handle the other GBA games as well. It's one of the more expensive games you can buy for the GameCube at the moment. There is a big box version that comes with the cord to link it to the GameCube, and that is heinously expensive, but this one here, I still consider it to be a complete copy, because it's got the manual and the disc, and I have the cord as well. It's just hidden in a box somewhere, but you could buy the cord separately in Australia. So this is from a big box version, because it does have the not for individual sale. But yeah, I bought it as part of my quest to have all the Pokemon games. So next after that is Pikmin. I love Pikmin. If you've ever played Pikmin, it is a really, really great game. There is 4 games total so far, I believe. There's Pikmin 1, which came out on the GameCube, Pikmin 2, which came out on both the GameCube and the Wii, And then there's Pikmin 3, which came out on the Wii U and the Switch, although it is a deluxe version on the Switch, but I believe it's essentially just a re-release with a few other things added in. And then there's Hey Pikmin on the 3DS. I love these games. I've played all 4, and I didn't really like Pikmin 2 for some reason, I'm not sure why, but 1 and 3 and Hey Pikmin I really enjoyed. It's sort of that slapstick humour a little bit, and you get to sort of control the Pikmin and put them into groups, and they do different things based on their colour. So yeah, I really enjoy these games. Definitely really recommend them. Next up is Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. So this game here is the second in the Metroid Prime trilogy. This is a really nice complete copy. I really like the cover art and how it's sort of got that rainbow sort of effect. I think it's just really cool, and they've got that on the back as well. And one other cool thing I've noticed is that the discs on this, and you'll see in a second Metroid Prime, are pretty much the same, except this is just a more sort of a greyed out version. So yeah, I think I paid up for this one as well, but it's in really nice condition, so I was more than happy to do that. Then we've got Metroid Prime, which was the first game in the trilogy. Again, I enjoy this game a lot. Unfortunately, this is a pre-owned copy. It was an ex-rental, so unfortunately that's why the sticker's there. I bought a lot of games from this video game store, and I paid, I think, $4.50 a game, but most of the games were $10 or under. But there were a couple of gems in there like this. Unfortunately, because it was ex-rental, it's got a manual, but the front of the manual, front and back covers have had contact used on them, but the pages are all there. It is glued in, but they snapped the clips off, which kind of sucks. But this is what I was saying about the disc, is how this is red and silver. They kind of went to all this silver, but it follows the same art, which is pretty cool. And that's the back of it as well. So yeah, I think it's a pretty cool game. Hoping to maybe upgrade that copy one day, but because I got it for cheap, it doesn't really bother me too much. Next is Mario Kart Double Dash. Unfortunately, this is not an Australian copy, but it is kind of cool because the European copies apparently came in a red case, whereas ours came in a black. The red case really sets it off. Double Dash is actually one of my least favourite Mario Karts in the series. I think it's really cool how you can do 2-player and have 2 players on the same kart, and you can sort of see all the different combos you can do there. So you've got Yoshi and Birdo and the babies there as well. And it is fun, but I felt like there just wasn't enough tracks on this. I don't know whether there was maybe more to unlock that I just haven't unlocked yet, but yeah, it's a pretty nice complete copy. Cool disc with the sort of the checkered flag across it. But yeah, otherwise it's in pretty nice condition. So next is Mario Golf Toadstool Tour. I quite enjoy the Mario Golf games. The most recent one, Super Rush on the Switch, is really good fun as well. Got this one sort of cheaper. It's one of the cheaper exclusives you can buy here. Again, nice complete copy. I just love the artwork on all these discs. I think they're very cool. Now they're all printed and stuff. I don't know what it is. I think the sort of the see-through nature of the Gamecube discs was pretty cool. Then we have Luigi's Mansion. Unfortunately not an Australian copy either, but I got this locally off Facebook Marketplace for $10 just a couple of years ago, which was a pretty damn good deal. There is 3 games in the Luigi's Mansion franchise, I guess. There's this one on Gamecube. There's Luigi's Mansion was they ported the Gamecube version to the 3DS, and then there's Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, and then there's Luigi's Mansion 3 on the Switch. This one and 3 are fantastic. This one's a little bit harder to control, so I preferred 3. I feel like they just improved on the controls. But it is a nice clean copy, and even though it's not Australian, you know, the manual's not too warped or anything like that. And then I've got this guy, F-Zero GX. So this was, I think, the final game I got off the guy in Tasmania. Again, paid up for this copy, but it's really nice. It doesn't have too many crinkles in the case or anything like that. It's Australian PAL. It is really nice and complete. The manual has one slight ripple there, but otherwise it's nice and flat. I grew up playing this game a little bit as well. It was just so fun, so fast-paced. I really liked sort of the concept of, you know, as you hit walls and you damage your vehicle, you come back around to these patches where you can heal it up again. There's like 20 courses in this game as well, so there's plenty of things to do. I really, really, really like this game a lot. Second last, we have one of the games that you wouldn't necessarily think of as being exclusive, and that is Disney's Magical Mirror starring Mickey Mouse. So this guy I just stumbled across on eBay, and he wasn't too expensive at the time, and so because he's an exclusive, I picked it up. Unfortunately, it's got a bit of water damage, and you can see it's got the pull marks up here. So I wouldn't mind a new case maybe, but it's not too bad. It's not too obvious when you look at it in person. And then we've got a clean copy, but unfortunately no health and safety booklet, but I'll chase those down. Sometimes you can buy lots of them on eBay, like 4 or 5, and as long as they're Australian coded, I just pop them into my games. And then last but certainly not least, we have 1080 Avalanche. I like the 1080 games a lot. There's 1080 on the N64, and that's really great fun, and then this was the next installment. I just like a good snowboarding game. I think they're really fun. The music in them's kind of cool. You get to do like just straight downhill snowboarding, or you can do some park stuff. There's a little bit of sticker residue I need to take off, but otherwise it's in pretty nice condition, and it's got some advertisements and a poster as well, so which is pretty cool. So yeah, and then one last accessory which I forgot to show when I was filming earlier, and that is the Gamecube microphone. So this guy plugged into the memory card slot, and you could use this, I believe it was Mario Party 6 or 7. You could use this for some mini games. Now I don't have any of the Mario Party games on Gamecube, but I do plan on getting them, and this was locally on Facebook Marketplace for $5, so why not? I think it's kind of cool to have some of the stuff like this. So yeah, I think you know, overall that's my Gamecube collection. I'm pretty happy with it at the moment. I think I've got a lot of the good hard-hitting first-party titles that are fun, and I've got enough controllers that if one breaks I can go and grab another. Plenty of games to play, some double player ones, some single player ones. Overall I think it's a great console. I wish I'd had one growing up. That would have been pretty cool, but yeah, otherwise I think it's great fun. Do you guys collect for Gamecube, or do you want to collect for Gamecube? Is it too expensive to get into? What's your favourite games? You know, any questions or any comments you may have would be really appreciated. Just pop them down below. Thank you so much. This is my first video, so I hope it wasn't too bad. Thank you.